I saw your contest video and was like, okay, hold on, this girl's like super duper interesting and I want to know more about her.
I've never been a workshop or speaker at a conference, so having that be my first out WIA is really special to offer, but it's important to know, like, in this industry, you have something to offer.
All of the information that you kind of learned that this was a need in the industry, was that, through your time with GM and hearing their struggles and getting to talk, one-on-one with these dealers?
Like, I really support the dealers and I've always gone to bat for them, but I also understand where the consumers are coming from. Being a consumer dealership ready to make that purchase, unfortunately had a bad experience and they chose not to buy that vehicle. It's sad because it still happens every single day. We all hear these stories.
You've accomplished so much at such a young age. You and I were talking about how you created the women's auto show. I've wanted to do down here for so long.
And you absolutely should do it. It's so fun and so rewarding, and the feedback you get is like, this is really, really needed. There's this lack of knowledge that gets passed on. My father was not a car person. That's generally the person that would pass on this information. I find that because you grow up not feeling like you have the support, that just perpetuates it.
Another day, another podcast. Welcome back. It's the I'm a Car Chick podcast. And I don't know about you guys, I'm still reeling from Women in Automotive. So I had to go back and snag more people to talk to about it and found a little diamond in the rough. This person, I started talking to her pre-interview and realized very quickly that I was fangirling a little bit and was like, oh my gosh, you're kind of amazing. And asked a whole bunch of stuff because she's really amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to let her tell you how amazing she is and all of the cool things that she's done. Welcome to the stage, Vivian Liu. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad you're here. We were talking, I don't even know how long we've been on, probably 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
Just kind of me learning a little bit about you and how you got to where you are, which is amazing. Like, I learned that you've won the BC 30 under 30 and so many other awesome things that you've done, not just for the industry, but for women in the industry. And so anytime I find someone like that, I'm like, yes, pedestal, please, right now. So I want you to give the listeners a little bit of information about you, how you found your way into automotive and how it led you to what you're doing now.
Awesome. Thank you again for having me. My name is Vivian. I've been in the industry for 10 years now. I started right out of college. I applied for a marketing competition, and one of the jobs that they had as like the final step was to apply to be a district manager for General Motors. And that's how I got my step. They literally handed me a pair of keys and a map and said, like, go talk to your dealers. So I think a lot of people who've worked in the field relate to that story. And from then I worked at GM for 7 years. I was also the regional sales and marketing manager for Cadillac. And I did that worked with over 80 different dealerships in that time. Absolutely loved my job. And I left actually to work for an auto tech startup. They help people sell their cars online called AutoZen. And then from there, I went out and built my own business.
That is such a cool journey. And like being straight out of college and then going to work straight for an OEM, like, number one, when you're young, it can be kind of scary because I imagine that there wasn't a whole lot of other young people in that space, but like also, hey, win a contest and here's the keys and all your dealers. Like, how was that transition? Was that difficult?
You know what? I absolutely loved it. It was intimidating at first, but the great thing is they put you in a region with dealers who are used to training the young people. But it very much was like very rural. I was fresh out of school. I was young, ethnic, and female. And everybody was asking me how old I was. People always thought I was older than I actually am. And I remember them asking how old I was, and I found out that their daughters were the same age as me. So it's like, okay, let's just hold that information a little tight to the chest. And you really build trust with the dealers. You listen to them, you support where you can. And I think that's just like the right attitude, and really excelled that way. And I just absolutely loved learning from the dealers.
Well, and it's really cool because your company that you started helps dealers a lot, but originally was meant to help the consumer. But all of the information that you kind of learned that this was a need in the industry, was that, through your time with GM and hearing their struggles and getting to talk, one-on-one with these dealers?
I think it's just I feel like I very much sit in that intersection between, like, I really support the dealers and I've always gone to bat for them, but I also understand where the consumers are coming from, being a consumer myself as well. And just working at GM, understanding what consumers are looking for, the legacy reputation that the industry has, it's very real. So I remember there was one distinct moment where I helped someone sell a vehicle or helped someone decide what vehicle to buy. They went into the dealership ready to make that purchase, unfortunately had a bad experience, and they chose not to buy that vehicle. And it's sad because it still happens every single day. We all hear these stories. So I know that there's a huge gap, and I find myself wanting to support people on both sides to be able to make progress. So I set out by doing that during COVID, when everybody had to make a decision really fast, get onto a wait list. I think everyone in the industry became like the token person and be like, hey, what car should I buy? I need to get on a wait list fast. Mm-hmm. And I realized like everything I was doing for dealers and helping salespeople, I could just do that for consumers. And that's how I got into it. And the only reason why why I pursued it is because it was working. People wanted this information. They wanted to be confident in their decision. And I felt like it was in the right place to do that.
So I had the little insight of getting to see what your product, when you first launched it, looked like on the back end, which was freaking amazing. And you've gone and even made it even more amazing since then. But what it kind of started out as, like I said, has transitioned. But what it started out as was really kind of an interview with the consumer of like, what are the things that you're looking for? What's most important to you? And then we're going to match a vehicle to you. And I think you said that like 70% of the people who did that matched with a vehicle that was different than what they were originally wanting. Is that right? And
they ended up buying that vehicle. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Like as an OEM girl, conquest is one of the hardest things. Like if you're a GM brand, it's hard to afford a customer to buy your vehicle. So we have this reputation for certain brands, very first customer was specific, like, I do not want a Buick. Buick is an old man car. I would never buy a Buick. And it was through me just showing the information to her and her family, they ended up buying the Buick. And that was the first time the light bulb went off for me. And it just kept happening over and over again. So
this episode is brought to you by Epic BDC, your #1 outsourced BDC solution. Check out more about Epic BDC by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting epicbdc.com.
The way I described it and the way that we built it was called like online dating, but for cars.
I love that.
Yeah. We would introduce people to the names of the vehicles that they could go date before they go to marry one. And then we would show them the information that mattered to them so that they can make a decision as a family faster without having to spend like the weeks or months doing that research. I was basically presenting it because as someone in the industry, we know what information is accurate, what information is updated, and where we can go find those things. So that's essentially where it all came from.
That's so cool. And so, like I said, the May, as you call it, it's Making Auto Easy, May, MAE, has since transitioned and is now a little bit different. So it's now more beneficial to the sales department while also being beneficial to the consumer. But kind of tell me a little bit about how you made that transition and why right now it's so important to the sales team.
Yeah, I think anyone in the industry who's ever talked to a dealership on the sales side, they're talking about how the process is broken. Yeah, they're not asking the right questions. Information's not going to the CRM. If you don't put the right vehicle of interest in, how do you do proper marketing? How do you power your AI chatbots? Data is everything. And that disconnect is in every single dealership. You're hiring new salespeople. There's this huge turnover that we have in the industry. It's a problem that continues. And it just so happened that the product that we'd built largely solved some of those problems. So I actually walked into a couple of dealerships one day with our original consumer product, and it was essentially matching customers to inventory, but now we could do that to inventory at that dealership. And not only were we just matching vehicles, but we were getting all this information about the customer in a standardized way. So now it doesn't rely on the salesperson to have to put that information into the CRM. You know that it's going to get in there. It's going to be clean and structured. And that was like the initial way that we solved our problems. And I was like, okay, this would work for any dealership because we all have those problems.
So is this helping the dealerships improve their showroom close rates?
It's to say whether it actually is helping them with the close rates per se. But what we have found is we are capturing like 4 to 5 times more information than a regular CRM entry. We have a full entry for name, phone number, email address. For email address, our very first store, we actually brought them to 80% email capture. Every single salesperson doubled their email capture, and it required no lift. We didn't have to retrain the salespeople. We didn't have to remind them. The sales manager didn't have to go back and forth questioning whether they have the right information or not. In our very first dealership, we also saw a 35% conversion on pre-approval rates, which is way higher than what they normally had. So just by having technology and that visual experience between the customer is where we saw like nuggets. Like people want this experience. They have a digital experience in almost every other industry, and they're coming to expect that. We talk about experience and personalization in the auto industry so much, and I think with the technology we have now, like there's no reason for us not to do this.
No, and it's anybody listening pretty much knows that I come from the BDC space, and that's something that's like huge for us, especially, just getting the salespeople to put notes in is like, and what's even bigger for us is that we're an outsourced BDC. So like we're nowhere near the sales team to walk in the showroom and see if our customer made it in. Like we're relying on the salespeople to put all that information in, or, we're having those big long talks with the customer about the struggles that they're facing, the fact that their husband just left them and they need a vehicle now because the husband took the vehicle, and I've got to get my kid to and from school. All of these things that we're trying to tell the salespeople, or that, don't make it in the CRM. So the CRM is a bone of contention between BDC and sales, not even just for the customer, because the customer never sees it, but it's dealership wise, it's huge to make sure that all of that information is correct, up to date, and the fact that you guys can match vehicles on that is kind of freaking big too.
Yeah, all that information goes automatically into their CRM. So like they know it's being done. And I find that at a dealership, we're playing telephone a lot of times. You're relying on that first point of contact to translate it to the to the sales manager. And then it also has to take it to the F&I manager. And everybody wants different information about the customer so that when they go talk to them, they're prepared. Mm-hmm. Now what we've done is we understand what everybody's looking for, and we tailor the information we would give to a BDC manager or to an F&I manager. It's different, but they want to know those first 5 things that actually they need to do their version of selling, which like by having all this information in your CRM, having clean and structured information into your CRM means that you can, in theory, sell more. If that vehicle of interest is not properly identified, that person doesn't get the right follow-up. So if we can do that, could we not power the rest of your tools, essentially?
Yeah. Well, and your remarketing abilities, like, so say that they didn't buy this month, but, you've got marketing campaigns. The cleaner your information, the more that you can target them and hit them later on.
For sure. I mean, the detail that we have in our customer profiles is so powerful. Like that's information that would absolutely never make it into the CRM. To know that the daughter's name is Jessica and she starts school in September and their dog's name is this. Like that's information that could be really relevant to someone else in the dealership, maybe even service, to be like, oh, my dog's name is also Steve. Something along the lines of that.
I love it. I love every bit of it. I think it's great. You're also doing really cool things for women in this business. You've accomplished so much at such a young age. You and I were talking about how you created the Women's Auto Show, and that is super cool and something that I've wanted to like do down here for so long. And then we have this little shop down here that kind of started doing something like it, but not to this extent. So I want you to talk about that and like what you were teaching with that and how that came to be.
Yeah, you absolutely should do it. It's so fun and so rewarding. And the feedback you get is like, this is really, really needed. This is a huge part of our lives, having our vehicle, being a vehicle owner. That's a lot of money that we spend. And
did you know that there's a monthly newsletter where you can keep in touch with everything the I'm a Car Chick podcast is up to? There is. Check out the show notes below, and you can also follow us on all social media and stay in tune with whatever we're up to.
There's this lack of knowledge that gets passed on. My father was not a car person. That's generally the person that would pass on this information. And I find that because you grow up not feeling like you have the support, that just perpetuates it. So being able to know that you understand your vehicle, you understand the costs, you know how to change a tire. These are things that give you that sense of relief and confidence that really made me powered me to want to do this. So the idea was, let's host an auto show, but let's do it for women, and let's bring in women in the industry to go teach their specialty. So we brought women who own their own repair shops, who own their detailing companies. They are car seat technicians. They would come in and run their own workshop and showcase, here's how you read a tire. Here are what your warning lights are. Here are the materials that I would use on this car seat when you have milk spilt in the back seat. So all of those things that are relevant to the experience that we would have as women, I thought should be shared in a way that we could build this community. And what was really cool was people would come in with their own experiences experiences. They would ask a lot of questions. They would suggest things that had worked for them in the past. We brought in hundreds of women into a dealership showroom that they would never walk into alone. A lot of these women came in on their own and made friends. So it just made me want to do it more. We've held them at different dealerships, and we actually held it at the Vancouver International Auto Show as well.
That is so amazing. So what do you think was like the one piece everybody took away from that the most? Like this is something I always wanted to know, but didn't.
It was definitely, for me, I'm spending a lot of my time around vehicle knowledge and the questions that you should be asking to have the confidence to know, okay, here are the things that I should try. Here are the names of things that I should consider. And to know that it's okay to ask questions and to have the support. I think that was one of the biggest things, is to come out knowing like, okay, if I have questions, I can go ask Vivian. And to build that kind of community. We have people from like neighboring states asking us if we're hosting some in like Seattle.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so needed. And that's part of the reason why Women in Automotive developed the socials, which is a little bit different. It's more so like, networking and stuff like that instead of, educational, but that's so needed too. We see, like the Girls Auto Clinic I want to say it's in Pennsylvania somewhere. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I have.
It's like that. Like we all want to know more about it. We all want to know like, how did this come to be? How can we get more of this around the country? Because like women in the industry are hungry. We're hungry to do more things. We've got women in the industry who want to turn wrenches and do the dirty work. And, they don't have as many assets around the country as, different areas would. And so I love that there's that connection available. Have you done one in the States before?
I have not, no, but I would love to.
That would be really cool to get one in the States.
Mm-hmm. I really think that there should be some corner of every international auto show that's dedicated to education.
I love that.
Because what we did, our version of my education of what I brought to the table was here's I'm going to match you to vehicles that you didn't necessarily know existed. People want to be confident. You're spending, $30,000, $50,000. Like you want to be confident. And to know whether you're making the right decision, that's priceless. So what we were able to do is we would show vehicles side by side. We'd give them 3 options. And it happened over like hundreds of times where either, that's the vehicle I bought. Great. Our system works. The other version of that, I was like, I didn't even know that this was an option, but it looks like a really good thing that I should look at. And I'd go, okay, great. It's on that side of the showroom. Go check out Kia, for example. Because who goes to the show if you're not an auto person and you're not looking at every single model, you're tired, you're with your kids, you're going to miss things. So it was like a nice entry point to say, okay, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to print you a piece of paper that you can go just walk around and like choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Well, and when we look at, car buying, especially for women, like a lot of times our first car or our first several or how we get brand specific is it's because, what we were raised into, the brand that our parents drove, or maybe you knew somebody that worked at a Kia dealership. And so then you start buying Kias, and then before you know it, you don't buy anything else. And it's like, then we don't even know what we're missing out because we never took the time to learn about any of these other brands and, how wrong we could be based on what we actually want.
Yeah. I haven't said this in a while, but it's an analogy that I use when I was doing my research about how people make their decisions. And I said that when I was working as a personal car shopper, that at the beginning, everyone is kind of like a Rachel from Friends. You're like undecided, you're excited, but you're unsure. And you only want to see a couple options. But towards the end of the experience, you turn into a full-fledged Monica. You want to see absolutely everything. You want to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. You want to make sure you're getting the best deal ever. And you can't, and like, that's how I look at building product in this experience in the industry is like, you have to tailor to both Rachel and Monica at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dealerships are not generally good at that.
It's a lot everybody should be trained on it for sure. And every customer is so different. And that's why like even building product, like the vendors in the industry, like we all look at the experience is so fluid. It cannot be a rigid process. And that's why like what we built works so well to bolt on top of any type of dealer system or any type of sales team, whether they're, they've been there for 10, 15 years or they're brand new, never sold cars before. Like this industry is so fluid and we need to respect that.
Yeah. Oh, and it's constantly changing. It never stops changing. Like our word of the day every single day for the last 10 years has been pivot.
Yeah.
Another Friends reference, but it's true because it doesn't stop changing.
Yeah.
So you told me some pretty big news that you're doing something pretty big this year, or I guess in February of next year.
Yes. We are going to showcase at NADA for the very first time.
That is huge and so exciting.
Yeah, thank you for getting me excited about it. I did it and I was like, I know this is exciting, but I don't know the full effect, so I really cannot wait.
Yeah, it's NADA is what we call the Super Bowl of automotive conferences, because it's like the big one where everybody's there. That's the one that everybody tries to attend if they can, unless, you know, it was last year like New Orleans and it got snowed out, because that happens in New Orleans apparently.
Yeah.
It generally doesn't. That was a weird freak anomaly, but we still made it, so, you know, nor to us. But no, NADA is absolutely huge, especially the Vegas one. So I cannot wait for you to get that level of exposure and for people to learn more about what this is. I think it's actually really fun and awesome. And the fact that you've done so much, like, I thought I'd done a lot at 30 and we're like right neck and neck at the same age. And I'm like, gosh dang, I haven't done anywhere near as much as I thought I did.
No, do not say that. I'm super impressed. Like, I love what you're doing, and I'm so honored to be even like to know that there's a community and you're doing this. I truly feel honored to be here.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about like Women in Automotive, which is how, you know, you and I got connected, because you were speaking at the conference this year, which we haven't even had a chance to talk about yet because we've been talking about all the amazing things you're doing. But so what's funny is last year's conference, you had entered the contest to get entered to come in, and had to kind of finagle the way around that. But I saw your contest video and was like, okay, hold on, this girl's like super duper interesting and I want to know more about her. But then of course this year this episode is brought to you by SCP Agency, your one-stop shop for organic social media. Check them out by clicking the link in the show notes or visit scpagency.com. Came back, but not just as an attendee, but a speaker. Like, was that pretty freaking cool?
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. It was such a good intro. I've never been a workshop or speaker at a conference. So having that be my first out WIA is really special.
That's awesome.
When you're a small founder and in like a huge industry, everybody has, works for a really large company. It's very intimidating. You sometimes wonder, like, what do you have to offer? But it's important to know, like, in this industry, you have something to offer. Your experience is different, and it's going to be relevant for somebody, especially like women in automotive. Like, hearing from the women and their experiences, it just fires me up. So I'm really excited. I hope to be more involved and just get to know more people.
Tell me a little bit more about your session. So the title of it was Make the Move, a framework for turning your big ideas into action, which I think we all want to do, whether we realize it or not. So kind of like walk me through a little bit of that. I wasn't in there for the whole thing, so would love to know more about it.
Yeah, I find that everybody is an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. So if you're in a large corporation, you can still be an entrepreneur. You have ideas, and everybody wants to make some sort of difference. It could be small or large. It doesn't have to be like a brand new product, but it could just be like, here's a way that we can improve our system. And I find that for me, building a product, there's so many unknowns. You launch something, it doesn't work necessarily the right way. You launch a service and, the dealers or the salespeople are not using it fully. And there's a feature that they're not specifically using the way that you want them to. And there's something about the way that you interview consumers, your end users, to be able to understand why. And a lot of times when we do and conduct customer interviews, generally, people will ask, well, what is it that you want? What are the features? What do you like? Where do you want this button to go? But it's actually not about that. It's understanding what that person is trying to accomplish, the progress that they're trying to make, and what they're hiring your product or service to actually do at a root level. And it was a framework that was taught to me. It's called Jobs to be Done. I learned it during my time at Techstars San Francisco. We went through an accelerator over 3 months, a couple months ago, and it completely shifted. It like rewired my brain on how I should be talking to my customers. Every conversation I have is a Jobs to be Done interview now. And what had happened was, for example, dealers would tell me that, salespeople are not asking the right questions. So I built something that would ask the right questions. And not knowing that it's not just about asking questions, it's about getting to the actual intent. Did we get to the right intent, the true why buy and the true budget, and that to get past what the customers are actually saying to you on the surface level or what they're holding back? That's what it was about, not just every single question. So now I can build my product to what the dealers and the salespeople actually want, not just what they say. So
right.
It literally rewired my brain, and I'm going through a Jobs to be Done interview process right now to build the next version of our product, and it's so powerful. So I taught that as a framework for anybody who's trying to make some sort of move or understand why something's not working.
That's really big. And it's like, my gears are turning over here because I'm like, hold on a second. This is something big. So like, what are the type of questions that can help this apply to any situation on the jobs to be done?
There's a lot to it. There's like a specific way to run these interviews. Before I would do customer interviews, I would do like 100, 150, like was doing like huge surveys where Jobs to be Done actually teaches that you only need like 10 to 15 interviews, but you'd be very specific about what it is that you're trying to learn and the people that you learn it from. So one part of the magic is identifying the struggling moment. What was it? Somebody must have gone through something where they hired, or let's say that you're a vendor, you're trying to find people who have hired or fired you or a competitor. And those are the people that you learn from. It must be recent so that they could recall their memories. And the biggest thing about jobs is about creating a timeline. You want to bring that person to those moments, those special moments in their journey that led them to make this decision to either hire or fire you or a competitor. That's the magic of where you learn what is really happening and what is the environment and the circumstances that led them. So there's like a special mattress interview about the core premise is people don't make spontaneous buying decisions. There's a reason they're buying it now. They might have thought they bought it spontaneously, but it's probably because they saw an ad or there's a deal and they just happen to, they've done enough research or there's a really good return policy at the store. Just you have to understand the circumstances of why this general manager is buying your product or firing your product, or they hired someone else over you. And that's where you can build your differentiation.
I love that. I love every bit of that. And the finding out why to certain things and that, I don't know, the interview process is, I'm a very analytical person. So like that's kind of stuff like just sets my brain on fire. And I have to like kind of calm it down right now to just.
I'll show it to you later. It's cool.
But I love every bit of that. So you're obviously still so early in your career, being 31 years old and having all of this under your belt, having a company that's still in the startup phases, but setting fire very quickly. Like, what's next?
We love our dealer partners right now. It's a huge part of where we are in the success. And, there's different levels of progressiveness in the dealer world. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. There are some that are jumping onto every AI software that's out there, and there's other ones that are holding back. And really, we're trying to find our next dealer partner.
You've made it this far, and I have to say thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to rate the show, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and of course on all social media channels. Light it up.
To be able to build this next version. Like what my goal is to make car buying feel like magic.
I like that.
It is for a salesperson and for a customer. I want that experience to be collaborative and magical. Like I want whatever you're thinking, whatever research you're trying to do, I want to be able to power that conversation. So for what I'm trying to build, I would love to show it to the world, but I need to find a few more dealer partners that are really passionate about what it is that I'm building.
So if you could kind of give some, and we have plenty of dealers who are listening. So what is the ideal dealer, that is really hard to say back to back, ideal dealer look like in the terms of what you're looking for? Like, is it a software that they have or a willingness to try something new, or like what does this dealer look like that you're looking for?
Well, the nice thing about it is they can be on any CRM DMS system. So we really bolt on, like it's very plug and play. There's no integration required. Our training is very easy. Our salespeople basically train themselves because it's built off of technology and like interfaces that they've seen in the past. For me, of the dealers that are seeing a lot of success and are absolutely loving this, and it's really powering, their confidence in their CRM right now, is their franchise stores. They have they're hiring a lot of younger hospitality type of salespeople. They want to build that experience. And they're just hungry to try new things. They really see the power of data powering their whole system. And they want that. Yeah.
I like that. Dealers, if that's you, what's the best way to connect with you? And if they're that dealer that is like, yeah, hey, that's me.
Yeah. Connect with me on LinkedIn, or my email is vivian@makingautoeasy.com.
Well, that email is easy too. It's just right there. So other than NADA, what do you have coming up? I know you're working on the next big arm of the company, but are you going to be at any other conferences or at any events between now and then?
None yet, but if anyone has any recommendations, I'd be happy to attend.
like trying to think of what else. Used Car Week is going to be in November. The Charlotte Auto Show is in November. That would be pretty cool.
Okay.
What part of, this is going to sound stupid, what side of Canada is British Columbia in?
I'm on the West Coast. I'm just north of Washington.
Freaking A. Okay. I was going to say, I'm doing a thing in Rochester, New York soon. And if that was like close enough to the Canada, I imagine it's like the States to Canadians. You're like, oh, Florida, is that next to Seattle? Like, that's how I would be. I don't know crap about Canada.
That's all right.
The worst. I can tell you probably how far apart Tampa and Naples are, but that's about it.
It's a big country. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll learn someday when I actually can go to Canada. Someone needs to invite me because I need to go to Canada. So.
You can come visit me.
Yes. Plus I love that side of the US anyways. If the weather's anything similar or if the scenery is anything similar, I'm in, because
it's drop dead gorgeous here. They call where I live, Vancouver, the career killer. Once you move here, you like basically can never leave. And that kind of happened to me at GM.
That almost happened to me in Seattle. My brothers live near there. And so we went out to go visit them one time. And my husband and I were both like, do we have to go home? Like, yeah. This is kind of phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all the scenery and the trees and the mountains. And, it's gorgeous out there.
Yeah, it totally is.
Well, it was so nice getting to talk with you today and learn more about you. And this is, like I said, this is something I'm very passionate about is, how do we refine our processes, make them better, and, get better communication on behalf of the sales team inside of the CRM. So me, I'm 1,000% on board. And I'm really hoping I get to see you at next year's Women in Automotive Conference and maybe at a social between now and then.
Definitely. I think
that would be awesome.
Yeah. I'm so excited for the future, honestly, of this industry. I think like building magic is a reality right now. The things that we're doing is so cool. I'm talking about personalization in store. It's the dream. Like dealerships as an experience center, this is the way to do it.
Well, and the crappy thing is like, it is needed. And as far as we think that we've brought this industry, it's still living in the past. Like my mom just bought a car a couple months ago and had one of the worst experiences. Like my last car buying experience was over a year ago. It was not good. My service experiences have not been good. So like, as much as I like to think that we're doing good and pushing the ball forward, there's still so much more we can be doing.
For sure. And I think like what I've noticed is if someone is unsure about whether they think they need to value the customer experience, like there's tools that are being built to support consumers. Like you're going to fight up and compete against that. And your salespeople are not ready and equipped to fight every single objection in real time. And that's what I'm trying to do as well, is to power your salespeople to be the best they possibly can. Like no salesperson, the best salesperson in the world selling 1,300 cars a year doesn't know every single make, model, year, trim, package available.
No, there's no way.
There's no way. So how can you expect, brand new salespeople to even want to know that much information? And we know that the average salesperson only lasts like 18 months and it takes them like 3 years to get really good at it. So now we can design something that can actually support them.
That's huge. That is so huge because turnover is definitely something we have to be solving because then you run into orphan owners and all of the other issues that come with that. So count me in. I'm on board.
Yeah. Our salespeople are like, they honestly, they use the product and they can start talking to customers right away. So I'm so excited.
No, I'm excited for you. This is something that's awesome. Like I said, I don't normally, I pretty much make it a thing. Like I don't let people advertise their product on the podcast because I'm like, if you're going to advertise your product, like pay me for it. But this was something that like, I immediately was like, hold on, I need to know more about this. And then once I learned about it, I was like, no, we have to talk about this. Like, this is something that I'm not going to gatekeep from anybody because this is a very, very important product. So no, I'm 100% in. I think it's a great product and I can't wait to see what you do with it. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, it's so lovely to chat with you. And thank you so much for having me.
I love that I got to talk with you and learn from you. And like I said earlier, I just love connecting with other people in this industry my age because there is not a whole lot of us. So we got to stick together when we find each other.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Thank you again so much for coming on today. Guys, if you haven't yet, please be sure to connect with Vivian on LinkedIn and learn more about May because I promise you guys, you are going to want a piece of that. So check it out, makingautoeasy.com, right?
That's great.
Boom. All right. We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Bye.